Okay. So, hey class. I'm going to start by taking roll on iClicker. We are going to use iClicker a little bit. Hey. And start. So, these are once again. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So we got like 5 people missing. So please check in. Let's see. Here. So missing. Together. So today we're going to go over, so I already mentioned, we're going to go over the assignment first, because I feel like that's the one thing like we need to cover. And then the rest of the class is going to be just activities and stuff. I think one point of like, the point of this class like being like to apply it into real life, and the whole point of the class paper is to like how you can apply these to real life. So the primary objective of all these activities is I posted on the beach board like the love language quiz and the love style quiz, so we're going to take them and discuss them and see like how your scores actually, like how you apply it and like what you can do with that information. Okay? So, just a quick overview. So I'm going to cover the paper and then a few videos and then activities for the rest of the class. So first, the reflection paper. So the reflection paper is due May 6th at 7 p.m. That's 2 weeks from Monday, so you like have 2.5 weeks. It's 250 to 500 words, which is basically like a page and a half. For the most part, I'm not going to track the exact word count. I feel like you should probably, because there's 3 main things to include, each one should be about 100 words. It's also all on beach board. You know what? I'll just take a picture. Yeah, so it has to include 3 things. So first, most significant concept that you learned in class. So pick one concept that you, from your book that you learned in class. Preferably bold and underline it. So when I'm reading your paper, I can just be like, there it is, and then I give you full points for it. And then use about like a paragraph, about 100 words, just to explain why that concept was the most significant one you chose. Next one, your biggest communication weakness and how you will address it. I would bold and underline like what you're using as your weakness, and then just explain it in another paragraph. And then how you will, how this course will prepare you or not for outside of college. It doesn't affect your grade if you're like, I learned nothing, or if you like, oh, it helped me out a lot. I remember when my significant other took her interpersonal comm class, she was like, my mom has a master's in psychology. I knew pretty much everything going into this class. I didn't learn anything. I was like, okay, like that's 1% of the class. But if you feel like you learned something that's going to help you outside of life, include that in about 100 words. And then yeah, the only caveat is you have to use one quote in APA formatting from the textbook, and not just like the definition of the word. So pull something from like the area where your concept is, that you think the wording of it is like significant or like it's well put in the book, and include it. It's just quotation marks, and then you would include the author's name, the date, and the page number where you got it from. And then 12.5 times 0 submitted in Word. People are still submitting it like PDFs. Yeah.
Double space?
Double space. Into activity section, not lecture section. The idea behind May 6th is that your final is a week from May 6th, is on May 13th. So realistically, all the activity instructors are going to have your grades up for these within a week, and then you know exactly like where you stand in the class before the final. So that's why it's due at that time, because it gives like the activity instructors enough time to grade everything. Primarily, most people do pretty well on this. It's a pretty like subjective assignment. We'll go over the rubric next. Oh, and then the first sentence needs to be like a thesis statement or a specific takeaway instead of like I learned about communication. just a general like understanding of your paper, or inspired me to take a career in communication. I don't expect that thesis statement from many people, but if you have that as your thesis statement, or learning conflict. The ones that we don't want that you get points marked out for is if you have something like, I understand interpersonal communication better, like have a specific takeaway from the class, than just a general one, or it prepared me for life after college, or messages are everywhere, or I've learned nothing. Just like pick a specific thing that you like a specific takeaway for like the first sentence. And then let's go into the rubric. So I'm going to fill this out. So at one point, include thesis statement. So what's your takeaway from this class? 5 points, which is basically the paragraph, the most significant concept you learned. So as long as you identify the concept and use a quote, that'll be 1 point, and then explain like the concept and why you think it's important or like significant to you. And then one personal weakness, how you plan to address it. So half of that will be notifying what you think your weakness is, and the other half being how do you address it, right? The book always gives like examples of how to address stuff. And then explain how common ruler will not be helpful outside of college. Yeah, and there's no points whether or not you do or don't think it will be helpful. And then submit it as a Word document. So make sure it's a point to the Word document with the last name. 2,500 word count, and then correct grammar, punctuation, spelling. So just like edit it to make sure it's like generally readable. And that's it. Are there any like general questions about the assignment? It's pretty straightforward, I think. And any concept from the book that you think, yeah. Okay. Real quick, kind of quote APA. Don't forget, I put it on the beach board a while ago when you were doing your paper, when you're doing your speeches, but APA Citation Now can help you out if you forget. So it'd be like, words from this book, like this quotation, comma, and then the author's McCormick, the year's 2016, and then whatever page number. And then unless you're not familiar with or with APA, it's parentheses and then the periods outside. That's pretty simple. Any questions about APA? You don't have to like give a cite at the end of your paper. You don't have to like give like that like bibliography with like the one of the book. Like you're all citing the book, so it's fine. I know where you're coming from. So, first, let's talk about love languages. Do you remember the 5? What are the 5 love languages?
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation?
Receiving gifts.
Gifts. Acts of service. There's 2 more.
Quality time.
Quality time. How much you're gonna watch? Physical touch. Physical touch, yeah. It's like the way, like the. There was recently an episode of Fresh Off the Boat. Does anyone watch Fresh Off the Boat? Yeah. Where they do love languages, and they're celebrating. He's turning 40, and she can't get him a gift, and she wants to like communicate that she loves him in a different way. So she has different styles, and her friend gives her the love languages book, and she's studying it and trying to figure out what love language her husband is. Okay.
What are you doing?
Looking at your pillow to show you I care.
What, I like it flat and limp. No. What's happening right now?
I'm expressing physical touch. Are you enjoying yourself?
Are you?
Good job buttering that toast. Even spread right up to the crust. Nice.
Yes, I will make you some too.
Did anyone watch that episode? Do you remember what his love language is?
Oh, I forgot. It was like the.
Can we come?
Not showing you that. Yeah. So yeah, she can't get him. She doesn't know how to get him with gifts, so she tries to get other 3 love languages. She throws away the book, says it doesn't work. At the end, she just spends quality time with them, and they're like, "Of course, that's his love language." So we talk about love languages. Acts of service, doing things for people, words of affirmation, saying positive things. A lot of people like physical touch. They actually found that is anyone familiar with the bonobo monkey experiment with the dolls? They basically had they had 2 dolls. One of them had food and milk on it, and the other one was very felty and soft. And the monkey would actually go and take the food, all the stuff, but it would prefer the soft, caring nature of it. And it was supposed to express how oftentimes we don't care about actual physical needs. Oftentimes we just want affection, physical touch, as opposed to that. Quality time, and then receiving gifts. And receiving gifts, there's actually a science behind how to do a good gift. Social scientists have broken down whether or not the gift is a surprise, how much of it is expected is a huge major factor, how much it costs the person, and how much care put into the thought. The thought of the gift, the cost of the gift, and the expectancy of the gift. Because if you get a gift on your birthday, you're not oh my god, right? But if someone randomly shows up with flowers and you weren't expecting it, it might be very nice. Especially if they found out what your favorite flower was, and it was a super big bouquet, so you know it cost a lot. Yeah. So our first activity, we're going to go take the love language quiz. I'm going to ask anybody, do you know what your love language is? Do you think you know? Who's pretty sure? William, what's your love language?
I think mine's quality time. I feel like I took this much.
Quality time?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll write that down. Quality time. I want to see how accurate people are. Anyone else? What's your
Same.
quality time? Okay. Go. Kendall. What's yours?
We have 2, right? Is it possible?
You primarily have 1. You primarily have 1, and then usually, so it'll rank them from 1 to 5.
Oh, okay, I feel like mine's a physical touch.
Physical touch. Yeah, are you enjoying yourself? I know. I thought I was very physical touch. I remember I went to go put my arm around my first girlfriend, and she was like, "No, I don't want your arm around me," and I broke up with her.
Savage.
You think it's quality time too? Okay. 3 people for quality time, 1 person for physical touch. Anyone think there are other things, acts of service or gifts?
4.
Doing acts of service? Yeah.
Louder.
And then anybody think they're gifts? They're like, no, I like things. Give me things. No? What's the other one? Acts of service, quality time, physical touch. Words of affirmation? Anybody words of affirmation? Mine's words of affirmation, actually.
You're doing great. Good job writing down the book.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Don't love language your teachers. That's not. Okay, so I posted it on Beachboard. What? Oh, okay. Yeah. So I posted it on Beachboard. It's under the first one. So 5 love languages. It will ask for, so you just click learn your love language, and then yourself, and then if you say you're in a relationship, it asks you to take it with your partner. For the purposes of the study, everyone's single. Okay?
It's okay, I don't have to pretend, dog.
Okay, and then it'll say your first name, so last name, and then it asks for your email. It doesn't send you an email or like verify anything. Like you can put a junk email if you want. I have like I'll use my junk email. If anyone else wants to use my junk email, it's fine.
What is it?
CY620.
Can you put a random one?
Yeah, I think it'll probably work. Male, and then your age, country is in the United States.
I thought you couldn't go back. I was thinking random stuff.
Okay, and then have you read? I haven't read it. No thanks, I don't need stuff. I don't understand. And then you hit start. It's 30 questions. They're pretty quick though. It's like it'll ask you what's more important, this or this, and it'll probably be like what it's usually one of the 5. I'll put gifts down, even though no one said gifts. And then hit start. And then yeah, it's pretty quick. There's only 30 questions. You taking it? Did everyone get their results yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Out of curiosity, because I just noticed there's a lot of people that got quality time. If you got quality time, can you raise your hand? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Really? Raise your hand. I knew you got quality time. 13. Did anyone, who got physical touch?
It was physical touch and quality time, like
Let's see, yeah. 4.
high.
4. Acts of service. Anybody get acts of service? Did anyone get words of affirmation? Just me. Can anybody get gifts? Nobody got gifts? Who say? I'm not getting any. I was gonna bring in a bunch of like candy and stuff for everybody. No.
I'm just.
Yeah.
Quality.
Huh?
We just want quality time.
Oh yeah, we can stay the full 2
We
hours.
just want to hang out.
Get some quality time, right? Okay. So, was anyone surprised by the results they got?
No.
No? Everyone was pretty sure? Everyone I took it, I definitely thought it was physical touch, and then I ended up being words of affirmation, which is just a little higher. What can you do with this information? You know what you are, right? What would you do with this information if you were in a relationship and you felt like you didn't like get that properly, get that love language?
Partner take the quiz.
Make your partner take the that we talked about communicating in the lecture. That's definitely something you do. Like they offer it to take it with a significant other, right? Yeah.
I already told my girlfriend we gotta take this quiz together.
Really?
Like physical touch, like we like to hold hands, kiss each other, all that stuff, like hugs and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah. I
So
told
do you think you have a matching like love language?
I feel like yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Does anyone feel like they have been in a relationship where their love languages just didn't like match? What was your?
Yeah, so I'm quality time physical touch, but my girlfriend, she's more like accessories than
Really? So she wanted like yes. So and you were like,
or it's like, like she just likes to see like thoughtful.
oh, okay. Okay. Willing, you raise your hand?
Oh yeah. My ex from my like freshman year, like I was like quality time and physical touch, but she like words of affirmation and like never wanted to see me.
And
Like she was fine with like not seeing me after like 2 weeks, and I'd be like, I miss you, dog, and she'd be like,
you told her you miss her dog.
yeah,
She was like,
and then she'd be like, eh, and I'd be like, oh.
okay. So she just didn't want to have, because quality time is like an important one, like the other person doesn't.
Like she was just fine like talking, like text and stuff, and I'd be like, oh, that sucks.
For people that did quality time, do you think you could be in a long distance relationship?
It depends on how often.
If it's drivable, then yeah.
If it's drivable, what's drivable? I had a buddy that was like, I will not date someone that lives more than 15 minutes away. He was like, I am not wasting half an hour.
2 hours max.
2 hours max?
Yeah.
How often would you have to see them?
Like, I don't know, every weekend, 2 weeks.
Every week or 2 weeks?
Yeah. Just like when we have like some kind of weekend.
I feel like about like them and like I'd be down.
But
NorCal is like where I draw the line.
NorCal?
Like 6 hours.
That's fine. I drive that.
6 hours? Wow, you drink 6 hours?
Yeah.
What,
For
do you
like-
have a dating app out of curiosity?
Do I?
Yeah, do you have a dating app?
Maybe.
What's the range? what's the range set on your dating app?
It's like 50, I think.
50? What? Oh my god, I would never do that. Okay.
Sometimes you get Jasper.
When you're swiping and they're like, there's no one within a 20-mile radius of you, and you're like, what?
I'm like, on Tinder, I like waste all my swipe. Because I just swipe on every single person. Just for fun.
Your eyes like shifted around the room. Okay. Anybody have physical
She broke up with me.
Okay. Was she like you're too like touchy or?
She said she wasn't ready for a relationship.
Oh,
Yeah.
I fight her.
It's okay. I haven't
Now,
yet
when we
said
talk
that.
about love styles, we'll get into like those people that are like do this, right? They're like just like the game. Yeah. So reflecting on future, how's your love language? Did anyone have like a really good relationship where they feel like their love language is like really clicked? Nobody? Everyone's like, I have no happy relationships. I came to interpersonal comm, I need help. Yeah? It's like your current relationship, you think? Or,
Like where we click?
yeah, were you like click?
Oh yeah, my current one.
Your current one, right? And you're happy with it because you have a clicking love language. So, the second part, NFT people said that you already would. Would you ask your significant other to take your quiz? Who would? Oh, yeah. And if you found out that they had like a love language that was different than yours, would you would you adjust your behavior to meet their love language? Yeah. Because remember, Dr. Ellie said like she was dating someone who like really wanted words of affirmation all the time, and she was like, I'm not gonna be your cheerleader, and they ended up breaking up, right? Does anyone have like struggle like giving certain love language? They're like, I just can't spend like if for quality time. There's some people where it's like I can't spend like a whole day with somebody. I need my alone time, right? That's another dialectical tension, right? That we talked about in lecture, right? There's a autonomy versus like community that you want to be your own person, but you also want to like be like together with that person. When we talk about like relationship stages, we'll talk about like when people start talking about like you as a unit, like you a couple as a unit. Has anyone been a couple or has seen a couple where like they go everywhere together, and if you invite one of them, it's assumed that the other one will come? Yeah?
My relationship.
Your
Just
relationship?
everyone knows like when she's home. Everyone knows when she's home because I'm only with her, and they know if they invite me when she's home that she's coming, like no matter what.
Yeah,
We're
because
just
you're
packaged
a
deal.
unit, right?
Yeah.
You're like a unit. Do you struggle to get like alone time?
No, not really.
No? Okay.
Um,
Yeah. But yeah, so like my relationship, right? I live with my significant other, like we're a unit, like you wouldn't invite like any of us. You see?
Yeah.
You wouldn't invite one of us without like the other one coming along. Yeah, and like her mom is getting used to that because like she'll invite her to dinner or like lunch and like I'll come along. And they're like, oh. Oh, I'm like, yeah.
Oh, this is just with the boys, right?
Well, this is just a good boy.
Yeah. Or do you still bring me if it's just the boys?
Yes. No. I hang out. I typically like invite her. Like she's allowed to go out. She typically doesn't like it when it's all boys. But yeah, that's like a negotiation you have with like.
Like is it
significant
guys
other.
night, girls night?
Yeah. Would anyone, if you were in a relationship and you like the person, but like the love languages just didn't match, do you think you would like end up not being in that relationship? Like you're like, I know they want words of affirmation, or like I know they want gifts. I'm not gonna buy them gifts all the time. Like, especially gifts. I like that gifts was zero. Because so many people like, yeah.
Maybe if they were like gifts and they were like materialistic about it, like they really wanted really expensive things.
They're like, oh, you buy me diamonds every day.
Yeah.
I want 7 rings. Like, okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about, and this kind of goes with our love language, is social exchange theory. So I have that little thing there, cost benefit analysis. Can anyone explain what social exchange theory is?
it's the balance between costs and benefits in a relationship and like deciding how to compromise on those.
Yeah, so there's costs and benefits of our relationship. It's a little more deep than that, like Dr. Ellie simplifies it. But it's basically, we have a relationship and we see what are the costs, like what do I lose when I'm in this relationship, and what do I gain? unknown reasons. They just stay in it because they want to be in a relationship with that person. There's also one important aspect of it, and that is perceived costs and benefits. So you might be in a relationship where you think there's more costs than there are benefits, but if you perceive the alternative, like if you perceive leaving the relationship to be more costly than staying in the relationship, you end up staying in the relationship. And that is actually, when they research like domestic violence, that's actually what happens, is that the abuser will make the person being abused think that leaving the relationship will be worse than staying with the abuser, and that's how they get them to stay. So that's another aspect of social exchange theory. The perceived alternative is like a huge concept in that. And if you see it, they'll like argue like, what is your alternative? And oftentimes, like even in like regular relationships, has anyone ever been in a relationship and they've just met someone like in like a class or like outside, and they're just super like attractive and like outgoing and interesting, and part of you in your head is like they seem like a better alternative than the person I'm dating? Anybody? That's a you rolled it, and then everyone's like giving me like a look like.
This is recorded, right?
This is yeah. The reviewer is really gonna be like that cross. I actually had a faculty member when I told them I was living with my girlfriend and we were married. They were like, "Oh, you're living in sin." I was like, "Oof." So the cost benefit analysis. We're gonna do a little activity. This is called Love Adventure. So I'm gonna tell you a story, and you're gonna meet 3 people in the story, and I want you to tell me at the end of the story, who would you date? Okay? Okay. Okay. So you've been single for a whole year. Okay, you've been single for a whole year. You and your former partner broke up because you were unable to communicate about various relationship goals and conflicts. Communication is important. And you are not quite sure that you are ready to be in a committed relationship yet. Your best friend sets you up on a blind date with person A, and person A is very attractive and extremely nice, but you don't have much in common. So person A, super attractive, and nice, but you don't like click. Okay. 2 months later, after meeting person A, you go to a bar downtown and decide to take Uber, but you don't want to spend too much, so you use the Uber pool, and on the way to the bar, you meet person B, who is hitching the ride downtown. B is hilarious, witty, works in the same industry as you have tons in common, but they're not that good looking, and you can't help but be attracted to B's personality. The one person you click with super hard, you know, tons of similarities, the other person just super attractive. The last person. A few weeks later, you're working late on a school project with a classmate, person C. Person C is smart and ambitious, and you find that they have a personal conversation. The person C owns a small business, and they are rich AF. They are loaded, okay? At the end of the night, the late hour encourages you to give person C a ride home, in which they ask if you would like to date and continue hanging out. Yeah.
Person C cute or not? Are they in the middle?
It's not included.
It has to be.
Okay, I will now.
Person C better looking than B.
Maybe. You don't know.
International, if I get a car,
I think you're person person A.
Oh, Mr. Quality Time is something like Okay, I'm going to start a poll, and I'm going to ask you A, B, or C. Okay, ready?
Wait, kicked me out of class.
Kicked you out of the class? Loading? Okay.
it's not like plain. There's nothing wrong.
You got nothing? Let me try to ask a poll.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
It works? Okay. A, B, or C? So,
So the hot one.
hot person, very attractive. They're nice. They're not like mean. You just don't click really well. One person, not that attractive, but you super funny, click super well. The last person, rich. Rich. Anyone can tell who I would pick. Rich.
I got 2 years of school left, dog.
We took this amongst all the master's students, and all the master's students picked the rich person. So they were like, you don't have money in grad school? Like, come on. A, B, or C. One was with D. There's not.
That
D
was
is
all
B
three.
alone.
Or maybe they're telling you what they want, dog.
Okay, I have 18
Oh,
people.
is this like a partner for life?
I'll ask that later. Yeah. You don't know? You're like,
Right here, right now.
I'm pretty old to be in this state.
By the way, every time I ask this question, I get, okay. So, 19 out of 19 people responded. 53% of people put B, the person you click with, the emotional connection. 42% of people put C. C is the correct answer. No one put A. No one put super attractive person. Which I feel like I always get a little, I'm like, come on. Like, in real life, like,
It's
I
very
feel
hot.
like every relationship I had in high school was person A.
Yeah, but like if you can't hold a conversation with the person, then they're not hot.
Yeah, their personality makes them.
Yeah.
But they're nice. They're
You can
nice.
be as hot as you
They're
want, but like
super
you have to
nice.
have something in common
You
for
have to be
you
nice
to
if
like
you're hot.
actually
They're
fuck
not like
Let's
rude
not-
or anything.
let's not
They're
get
just like, you
that.
don't like have the same interests.
Yeah. So like you can have like a fun, enjoyable conversation.
Okay.
That's boring.
Yeah.
Unless it's a one and done.
In that case,
Oh my god.
So,
Let's put the
discussion
fighting
questions.
song.
So, half of people picked B. Anyone who picked B? Anyone want to answer why? Why'd you pick B?
Because when I'm talking to someone, like the number one thing that I look for in a girl is humor. So like, 'cause, like I like to laugh and have fun too.
So you don't look for attractiveness at all?
I mean, that's like hard, but like they said, like if they're hot, but then like they're not funny or whatever, then like at least I'm not for it.
Okay. So you're like,
Like humor seals the deal.
humor seals the deal. Okay. Who picked C? Why'd you pick C?
You already know why.
You're like, why on both? You picked C? Why'd you pick C? It was the lesser of the evils? So like someone you, yeah, okay. Anyone else pick C? Want to explain why? Why'd you pick C?
It's because chicks are back. Don't worry about what I'm doing.
Okay. What did you take into consideration when you chose? Like, what kind of the answer that I'm going with is, like, what are your goals? Because that ultimately, like, affected what you chose, right? If you, like, you joked, like, the one and done, but, like, if you're literally going for just a physical relationship, like, the person A, like, would probably be, like, the one you pick the quickest, like, the most attractive person to have a physical relationship with. Versus, if you're going for a long-term relationship, person B might be the answer, and if you're just trying to have the best time of your life, no person C. I mean, yeah. Huh? Your future set. Oh, so you're like pragmatic. You're like, no, they make money, like, I'm good. You're like, I don't need college. You're like, I could drop and then
just be a stay-at-home dad.
Say it!
You could divorce them. You can marry them and divorce them for
Oh,
half.
yeah.
Oh yeah, take
Half the
both.
money.
Yeah.
And then you can
No,
go however you want.
And then sue
we
them.
go for A.
Yeah, then you sue them for emotional damage and get your money.
You Jeff Bezos then? Yeah. Jeff Bezos' wife is the most beautiful woman in the world after the divorce.
there's like a sense of like equality, like you click with them, you work in the same industry. While A is like they kind of have more power if they're like more attracted to you, if that's like the case. Or like for C, they kind of have more power if they have more money than you. Like they can drop you whenever they want, and like you won't have the money like, anymore. So in the future, like you know, I don't know, you just need to like make up your own success.
So you're like, that's interesting. So you think that person A, because they're so attractive, like you don't know.
If that's the case, like if
They
you're
have
really
power.
attractive and you're like up there with them, I guess you could choose A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. They actually, I don't know if I mentioned this before. They found out they took they did an experiment where they took like 50 people in a room and they took pictures of everyone, and then they had them like rate each other on like a scale of 1 to 10, and then they had them they had to pick who they would like date first, and then who they would be most happy with, and people found that like the average score, whether or not you were like, and this like really objectifying beauty, but like a 6 or a 7, you ended up picking someone that was like the same attractiveness level with you, because people perceived like you would be happier with someone of your like similar attractive like level. If that makes sense. Which is interesting, and it's also interesting the money thing, yeah, because like you don't like you could milk that dryer, they could just like throw you to the side and pick someone else. Interesting. Yeah. How realistic are these situations? Have you ever had a situation where you had to pick between someone you really click with that you're not attracted to versus someone you're super attracted to? Yeah. Yeah. Who did you pick in real life? William, who did you pick in real life?
This class is just Will now. But,
Yeah.
dude, I had a girlfriend that was like super hot, and then I had like an all-time self-esteem like low, like the whole relationship.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I just felt like yeah, she was like she was hot. It was like yeah. And then like because of that, like when she got close to people, I would feel like
Jealous?
not jealous, but like threatened. But I wouldn't say anything.
Okay.
I would just like let it happen. I'd be like, oh shit.
It's also what you perceive like attractiveness is, because if you perceive yourself to be just as attractive, like even if like objectively or like whatever it is, yeah. So that might be an issue where you have to go back to the self-esteem check. But like depending on like how you perceive yourself, right? Like depends on whether you're happy with it. Yeah. Anyone else have to choose between like two people that are interested in? Yeah. How did you choose?
Well, when I was on Tinder, person A showed up a lot, and it was like, I would go for person A if I was looking for something casual. And then my current man is like a combo of all three. So.
Okay. You're like, he's rich, he's like, and he's attractive. Yeah, you can get all three so far. Yeah, I had, like, when I was picking my significant other was one of my best friends at the time, and then I was also talking to a coworker that was very attractive, and I ended up picking my, like, best friend, because, like, it depends on the love style you have, because we're going to end up talking about love styles, and, like, two of the three main primary ones, one is companionate and one is passionate. So if you have a more companionate love style, you might end up picking your friend over the person that's attractive, versus if you have a passionate love style, you might want to have like a physical passion versus as opposed to like a friendly passion. So one of the so Dr. Ellie came up with this next activity. It's called Me, We, Us, and it helps in understanding why you choose who you choose. So we're going to take a little time to do this. It's almost like a vision board for your relationship goals. So the first part of the assignment is you write down what your relationship goal is for 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, and 10 years. So like what would you want to accomplish in 6 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, depending on like who you're in a relationship with. If you're in a relationship now, you can take that into account. If you plan on seeing like the person you're in a relationship with for the next 10 years, like what are the goals you have? Next, write down 5 qualities or behaviors that you want in a partner and rank them from 1 to 5. So rank the 5 like top qualities or behaviors that you have in a partner. And lastly, write down 5 qualities or behaviors you could work on, and explain why you choose each one. Okay? So take out a pen and a piece of paper, or you can type it if you like. You don't have to like write it down. And I'll give you 10 minutes. You don't think that's enough time? A little less? Okay, I'll give you 12 minutes.
I don't even think this part I have.
15 minutes. Okay, 15 minutes.
I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow.
I don't know what to do about that.
Anybody wanna get to you?
Yeah. 15 minutes.